Welcome to Connections. I'm Tom Loucks for the City of Marshfield. My guest today, Chief Owen.
Hello.
Thanks for joining me.
Thank you for having me again.
All right, and this is our program called Connections. And Scott is just one of our guests of many that we have throughout the month. So thanks for joining us here on Marshfield Media Access. Well, I came up with some questions today in the middle of May. I know you guys were hiring, and I don't know if you are at this point anymore, but I believe you are. Let's talk about that process.
Yeah, so with our contract and interfacility transfers that we do for the Marshfield Clinic, we received approval to hire 3 additional staff. It's slow going, but we're getting to the point where we're actually going to be able to start bringing them on. We're in part of a hiring consortium with Fox Valley Technical College as well as Chippewa Valley Tech, 2 different entities in hiring. We just actually did a group of interviews from the Chippewa Valley group. Fox Valley closes the end of this month, and we're hoping to be able to bring the additional staff on in the very near future.
Okay. Well, when you're looking for a certain individual or qualifications to be a firefighter as well as a paramedic, correct?
Correct.
Does someone have to have a 4-year degree, a 2-year degree, something similar to like the police department does on a training?
Yeah, so typically what our hiring requirements are is a paramedic. Since our service is a critical care medic service, we require paramedics, as well as an associate degree in fire science or paramedicine or fire medic, something that's related. We're actually getting to the point that we're looking at eliminating the actual associate degree requirement and going with a number of credits, like 60 college credits. The amount of people that are applying for the public safety jobs is down significantly from back when I started doing this 20 plus years ago. This past hiring process through Chippewa Valley, we had 14 people apply for our department, and I mean I can remember back in the early 90s it was hundreds of people applying for one position, and now we had 14, and that was all. So we do look to the higher education. We encourage our members that are currently employed to continue on and get that higher education, bachelor degree. And we have a number of them that are doing that right now. But as far as the new recruits, paramedic, firefighter 2, and then an associate degree, we try to aim for the fire service related or medic. But lately we've been looking at a wider variety.
Can you tell me why there's so few people applying? Is it the danger of you do, or is it just the demographic of people that want to do this kind of profession?
Well, that's the $1 million question. It's not just us; it's nationwide. I think we're starting to see a lot more jobs out there that are available. We have a great profession. There's no doubt about it. Our firefighters work 10 days a month. Now, granted, they're on 24 hours a time, and there are days where we'll run 5 or 6 ambulance calls, and similar to Monday, they ran 20 plus fire and ambulance calls in a 24-hour period. But we really don't know why. The generation today doesn't seem to want to do the public safety type of stuff. We are actually working with the school system, Marshfield High School, Midstate, and Columbus, to try and develop a work-to-school or school-to-work program where students can get that interest in the fire service and hopefully get some college credit or something towards that degree. But yeah, it's a struggle all around the nation trying to find firefighters, and we're in a very competitive area. We only have really, Wausau, Point, Rapids, us, that are in these various hiring consortiums, and we're all vying for the same people, and it's tough.
Well, it's a dangerous profession.
It is.
It's not easy, and I think social media, kind of brings out some scary points of what you guys do every day. It doesn't matter if you're here in Marshfield or New York City.
True.
You have to battle
Very
fire.
true.
You have to battle it in the same way.
Yep.
If, like, say this place was to go up in flames, you have 7 or 8 stories.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you have to fight that in a way that you guys have been trained, and same with any other kind of place outside of the city here that has
Right.
to do that. So,
Right.
yes, definitely. Well, you guys are always doing a lot of things, like Stop the Bleed program. That is
Yep.
a thing that's actually, or I don't want to say thing, but an event that is going on right now.
Correct.
And they can still do that yet today?
Yep. So as part of May's Stop the Bleed month, we are offering Stop the Bleed training at the fire station every Wednesday in May. There's different times. I believe today's session is at 3:30 or so. But yeah, I mean, if anybody wants to learn how to control severe bleeding, it's a great class. We've had a lot of positive comments on it. This is kind of the final phase, if you will, of our whole Stop the Bleed initiative and acquiring all the kits that we did for the schools through the generous donations of citizens. But we're pretty excited. Even once May is done, we'll offer classes here and there, but it won't be as often as as every week is right now. But yeah, it's a good training and something that you can use no matter where you are.
Already, and that's held with Deputy Steve Bakos,
Yeah,
right?
Deputy
And-
Chief Bakos is in charge of
okay.
it.
Okay, and he's been handling a lot of that PR as well.
Yep.
So if anyone has questions, they can call fire station during the regular business hours. Is that
Yep.
right?
Yep.
And you get a hold of him if he's on
If he's
his
there,
shift.
otherwise the
yep.
shift commanders know
Yep.
what's happening and all that stuff.
Yeah, definitely. All righty. Well, it's a season. People like to have outdoor fires. Can you have them in the city of Marshfield?
So yeah, in the city you can have recreational campfires, very similar to if you go camping and you want to have a little cookout or whatever. You can have that. There are some requirements. You can only burn clean dry wood, so it means you can't burn leaves, yard debris, things like that. It has to be just wood. You can't use any type of flammable or combustible liquid to get it started. You have to start it naturally, and the fire ring itself, some type of a secure ring that will hold everything in, and they have to be about 30 feet away from anything that could catch on fire. We encourage you to have a hose nearby, just in case. It is still the wildfire season. It's still the dry season. Even though everybody probably sinks in their yards, it is still dry out there. Minocqua area had a 40-acre fire yesterday. I know the DNR is burning hundreds of acres yesterday and today to clean out some stuff. But it is important just to be cautious. The only time that we'll come and tell you to put it out is if someone complains about the smoke. We typically don't fall under the red flag rules of the DNR, so if they put a ban on it, it's up to myself or my designee to say yes or no to burning, but traditionally we haven't, as long as people use common sense and especially have that water supply nearby.
Okay, and a lot of communities, cities refer to like a fire marshal. Is that you?
No, the fire marshal would actually be Deputy Chief Pete Fletty.
Okay.
He's in charge of our fire prevention division.
Okay.
But yeah, he's our code expert.
Okay. I was just trying to, the terminology, but they would need to. You would have the control if you needed to ban the.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Well, let's talk about the Dairy Fest. Are you guys going to be in it?
Yeah, so Dairy Fest is coming. I'll be down at the mayor's breakfast, and I think Deputy Chief Bacus is also planning on going down to work it. We have a great time. I did it last year for the first time, and I just had a blast serving eggs and talking with people. And but yeah, we'll be in the parade. We're always in the parade. We'll be at Picnic in the Park this year. You know, traditionally we have not been part of Picnic in the Park. McMillan Fire is always there doing stop, drop, and roll, and their fire safety stuff. But last year we were there for the first time. This year we're going to be there again. I think it's important to get out there and meet with our citizens and show them, you know, that we are here and what we can do for them. And of course, you know, we'll have to do fire inspections of the different areas, Wenzel Family Plaza and the Dairy Fest breakfast, and we have a lot of things just to make sure everything is safe.
Oh, really?
That they're not, you know, running too many extension cords, or they have the extinguishers that they need just in case, all for safety for the public.
Okay, I didn't even know aware of that's what you guys had. There's a lot more than just putting it up. That's just one piece of what you guys have to do. But but the kids, the families will see you guys. It's a Saturday, the parade, I believe.
Yep.
And is there candy in this parade? I'm new. I'm curious.
There are organizations that hand out candy. We can't toss candy.
Okay.
It has to be handed out. But I'm not sure if we're going to have candy or not. I'm trying to think for this parade. I'm not sure if we're in the lead or the tail.
Okay.
It kind of varies parade to parade.
Well, we may hear your horn.
Oh, you will definitely hear it, I'm sure.
Well, we'll hear that, and then we'll know where you are, and maybe even see your lights. So,
Yep.
Well, we'll look forward to seeing you guys come in the parade, and then seeing some of the fires there. They'll probably be in there and waving to the crowd, and that's always neat to see for the kids and stuff. Any other events that are coming up in this month here and a little bit into June before we meet again?
I don't really think there are.
Okay.
It's, you know, right now for us, it's a lot of internal prep for the next budget cycle. Even though, you know, we're halfway through the year almost. I mean, it's sad to say, you know, we're approaching June already, but our budgets are done ahead of every other city department. Us, PD, and library, because we have to report our budgets and get approval by our commissions. So we actually have to have our budget done by July.
Wow.
So that's kind of taken a lot of my attention right now is getting that ready to go. And but yeah, external stuff, it's kind of status quo right now for us.
Right. But you have, your guys are out there doing different projects, engaging with the community. We just filmed a program that was done over at the Y earlier this month, I believe, about a life-saving device that they, I believe, which was very...
Yeah, they had someone at the YMCA who went into cardiac arrest, and their staff used their defib and resuscitated the individual, and we got there, you know, took over care, transported, and it was a way that we could just recognize and thank them.
Yep, definitely. So let's talk about a defib. Without that, the circumstances could be much different.
They could. You know, so a defibrillator, like, you know, you start to see in malls or grocery stores, discount stores, whatever. The purpose of a defib is to shock a heart rhythm that is not normal. So they're designed to shock VFib, ventricular fibrillation, or VTAC, and it's very quick heart rate. So a VFib is, if you think of a bowl of Jell-O and you shake it back and forth, it just kind of goes. And that's what VFib is. And then VTAC is, you know, 220 beats a minute plus. And the purpose of the defib is kind of like your breaker box in your house is when you hit the electricity into the heart, it shuts the heart down in hopes that the heart fires up on its own. It's like a reset button almost.
Okay.
And, you know, for this particular individual, that's what happened. You initiate electric therapy, and the heart shuts down, and within a few seconds it should start to kick up on its own again. And if it doesn't, then they go into either, they usually go into CPR then,
Right.
for a period of time until it's time to check it again and try it again.
Okay. Well, a lot of places have those, and their staffs are trained.
Yep.
And is that something your department does, or how does a business or a larger organization like the Y purchase a defib? Do they get help from you guys, a city, where?
So yeah, a lot of times what happens is we'll get a phone call from a business that says they would like to purchase one of these. When the public AEDs came out, you used to have a physician prescription to get it. And that's been waived. You don't need that anymore. But they call us, and we just make a recommendation to go visit these vendors and see what works best for them. Excuse me. And we let them know what we have, what's compatible with ours, and then they kind of run with it. Training sometimes is provided by the company that they purchase from. Otherwise, the Technical College Mid-State offers CPR training, which includes defib, and there are different private instructors out there that do the same.
All right. Well, each year or twice a year, I think it's always a good idea to check your smoke detectors. Is a lot of times people used to say around daylight savings, which we passed by
Yep.
now. Is that still the norm? So that was a month ago almost, right? Or maybe
Yeah.
even more.
Yeah, so it's still that's still the standard message that you change your clock, you change your battery. It's always a good reminder, and every once in a while we'll get someone who says, well, my detectors are hardwired, I don't have to change a battery. Well, you need to check because a lot of them, especially your newer ones, have battery backups.
Yep.
So in case you lose power, you still have the protection of a smoke detector. So double checking them, testing them monthly is important because you just never know. Maybe you get a bad battery and a month later it's dead. But you check them monthly, you change them twice a year, and you never remove the battery for anything. You leave the battery in there.
Yeah.
If there's anything that needs a 9-volt battery, you leave it alone. And
Yes.
even the newer ones have the 10-year batteries that are non-removable now.
Oh, really?
They're in there for the duration. Once it starts to beep, you throw the whole extinguisher or the whole smoke detector away and start over.
Probably a good idea.
It is.
Because people don't like that beep in the middle of the night.
Right.
And then they unhook it and forget, and it's hanging there
Yep.
precariously.
Yeah.
Been one of those guys. Sorry.
Okay,
It is hardwired, but it has a battery.
there you go.
Yeah, just not a good idea. Because I've never been in a situation. I don't want to be. I don't want to see anybody in that situation.
Right.
It's scary, and I guess since we're on that topic and we got a little bit of time left, where should a family have a safe designated spot to go?
Yeah. So I mean, as part of pre-planning everything that could possibly happen in your home, it's important for everybody in the family to know where you're going to meet in the event you do have to get out of the house. When we meet with the elementary school kids every year during Fire Prevention Week, we talk about having exit drills in the home. We talk about meeting places, get out, stay out. We talk about finding a place that is far enough away from the danger and yet accessible by us when we get there where we can talk to them. So a mailbox out front, a neighbor's house, something that everyone knows where to go is important.
Yeah, definitely. Well, every time on the show with you, Scott, or maybe with someone else that's from the department or a guest of yours, I kind of want to ask a tip. I kind of want to have a fire prevention tip. Something that we can leave everybody at the end of the show that maybe they should be being careful of. Today you mentioned electrical cords. You can't have 10 plugged into one.
Right.
Something like that. I'm just coming up with that. But
Sure.
if you could think of just one tip on this to leave our viewers with, so that would prevent any kind of fire, help you guys out.
Sure.
Ultimately, you don't want to be run into these places.
Right.
It's dangerous, and you're here to protect and serve, just like PD. I think that's the same idea. But yeah, let me know if you could leave me with one tip today.
Yeah, and so we can actually go right back onto the extinguisher or the. Well, I've got extinguisher on my brain today. I think it's because we got our new prop in, so we're
I
playing
got to
with
come
it.
over and see your
Yeah.
extinguishers, and I want to see extinguisher training.
Yeah, we're
someday.
going to get it out. So,
All right.
but the extension cords, people tend to use extension cords routinely. The biggest thing on extension cords is don't overload them. So if you go to any of the stores and you buy the 99-cent extension cord, the little one that has the 3 prongs on the end or the 3 plugs on the end, you have to be careful. Those aren't rated for significant loads, and they're not permanent wiring. They're not allowed in businesses at all. If we find them during fire inspections, they have to remove them because that's a violation of state code. But not overloading these extension cords and then not putting rugs on top of them to prevent, trip hazards or whatever, because the heat starts to build up between the cord and that rug, and then we can have issues. So just a lot of common sense.
Yep.
Luckily, we're at a time of the year right now where extension cords are not used in the home more than normal. Christmas time is always a concern because you got Christmas lights everywhere and trees and whatever, but just use common sense and caution.
Definitely. I'm sure we've all seen Christmas Story, I believe.
Yeah,
The
Christmas
guy
Story
that plugs it in,
Yep.
and he's got about how many?
Yep,
Yeah,
exactly.
exactly. Don't do that.
Don't do that, no.
Yeah. So we'll have to take a look at ours here as well, so we are safe.
Oh, don't worry, others, my inspectors will find it for you.
Well, that's good, though. I think it's a great idea. Glad that's why they're here.
Yep.
They protect us from things that we're not thinking about. That's why we have you. Well, we're out of time, Scott. Thanks for joining
All
me.
right, thank you.
I appreciate it. We'll come back next month, talk about what's happening in June and part of July. There
Sounds
should be
good.
some changes going on around with our weather, hopefully, and
Yeah.
nicer out, and maybe people will be doing stuff more outside. The grass is green, but everybody needs to be safe, slow down. We don't want any vehicle accidents because we're in a hurry to get
Right.
someplace to just enjoy, because it's
Yep.
no fun that way. And I know that's something you guys have to do. I'm sure calls increase and come summer months, so maybe we'll talk about that as well.
Okay,
So.
that sounds good.
Alrighty, I want to thank you guys for joining me here on Connections. I have Scott Owen, the chief, in this episode of the show, and I want to thank you for joining me on Marshfield Media Access.